Hey guys, Scimitar here, and today I will show you a complete mod list for making your Oblivion gameplay insanely cool, challenging, interesting and dynamic as never before. At the same time, without touching basic Oblivion mechanics, it still will be the same game, just many times better and expanded in all possible directions. Fixes of bugs, upgrades to flat vanilla mechanics, complete overhauls and lore-friendly additions to everything, combat, enemies, immersion, spells and powers. Absolutely new features like crafting, faction wars, beast taming and much more. This information may surprise you, but actually Oblivion modding stage is not only still active, but there are even several gameplay mods that are Requiem-like in size, a complete gameplay overhauls that are still in active development, expanding each month. In other words, with this mod list, Oblivion will transform into the game you will play without a single remorse in 2018. In addition, you will not need to make any tweaks to mods yourself. I packed all INI files already tweaked for best possible compatibility between the mods and balanced gameplay settings, so everything you need is just to watch this video, then replicate my mod list, download my INI files and replace default mods INI files with mine. Bang! And you're ready to play best Oblivion gameplay possible. Sounds great, isn't it? Now, let's go! First of all, before installing my mod list, if you want your game to have same beautiful graphics, pay a visit to BabyLegs graphics guide and follow it carefully. But even if you don't want to have the new graphics, or maybe your PC can handle graphic mods and EMB, still read and make first part of BabyLegs guide named Stability Mods, OBSE, Fixes and Patches. Once again, this step is a must if you want your game to be stable in overall. Now, you only need a few tools to install mods and manage the load order. All links are in video description, don't forget that. Number 1. Wrye Bash. This is your main mod manager for Oblivion. Why not MMM or mod organizer? Both these mods managers are much more new compared to Oblivion modding stage peak, and they are not supporting Oblivion mods properly. Once again, do not use mod organizer or NMM to install Oblivion mods. Download Wrye Bash and install it. If you need more detailed Wrye Bash guide, visit a page I linked in video description. Number 2. Oblivion Mod Manager. This is another mod manager for Oblivion, but Wrye Bash is still our main. We will need OBMM only in a few cases because some mods from my list are especially in .omod format, which requires OBMM to install it. Number 3. Boss. Boss is a predecessor of Loot, Load Order Sorting Tool. Pretty much the same as with mod managers, Loot is not supporting Oblivion completely, so use exactly Boss for that. Test for Edit. This is very easy to use, amazing tool to clean the mods if they will have some dirty records. This tool is optional, as all mods in my list are stable and does not cause crashes on their own, but it's always good practice to check your load order and clean some mods if they have dirty records. We are ready. Be sure you have read and made stability part from BabyLegs guide and run your Wrye Bash and Oblivion mod manager, because now mod list arrives. Fundament is a complex mod which allows to change huge amount of game values, but in our case, we will use it only as a base framework for some other mods that require it. Install it with Wrye Bash. Birthsigns Expanded is a mod similar to Initiation, Andromeda or Aurora. It improves all game birthsigns, making them much more interesting, powerful and useful at any stage of the game. Trap is a similar mod from the same author that makes complete overhaul of all races, their stats and abilities in a lore-friendly way. AV Uncapper and AV Uncapper settings. That's a mod similar to Community Uncapper in Skyrim that allows your attributes and formulas to go above 100 and so making late game to have much more sense. Install AV Uncapper itself and then override it with AV Uncapper settings mod. My INI file for it comes separately. Progress is a little mod that makes leveling slower. Why to have it? It is simple. With big mod lists, new quests, enemies and so on, you'll have much more to explore in the game, and with usual leveling speed, you would level up too fast and have to explore most part of the game at high level already, which would be boring. In addition, it is easy to get lost in big amount of new spells, items and so on if you will level up too fast. Install the mod and don't worry, my tweaked ini file for it is included later. I was not joking when was saying there are some Requiem-like in size mods that are still in active development for Oblivion. Maskar's Oblivion Overhaul, or just MOO, is one of them. It's a complete game overhaul that is improving billions of vanilla aspects and adds even more amazing features that were not present in original game at all. New factions, faction wars, crafting, beast taming, new quests, new artifacts, and literally hundreds of other scenes. It would cost me maybe like an hour to describe just all features of this mod briefly. To understand what I mean, only the PDF user guide file contains about 50 pages of text about mod features. Just imagine that. MOO is simply the best mod ever made for Oblivion and definitely one of the biggest and most talented mod creations I have ever seen in Overhaul. Oscuro's Oblivion Overhaul, current version 1.5.8. It is another huge and amazing Oblivion overhaul that balances many vanilla gameplay moments and adds huge amount of new quests, dungeons, enemies, factions, armors and weapons and much more. What is even more great, it is absolutely compatible with Maskar's Oblivion overhaul, and together they are making real transformation of the game into something of next-gen quality, making a stable base of our mod list. Also don't forget to install Shivering Isles add-on for it, for mod support for DLC. Vanilla magic system in Oblivion had a lot of plain design moments and just ridiculous flaws. Remember how you casted, for example, 3 buff spells in a row and after like 5 or 10 seconds first one was already fading off from you? Or master illusion spells that were not able to affect anyone higher than level 15, making illusions simply useless in middle and late game? Or why all master spells in Overhaul were much weaker than any self-made spells? Want to change that all? Install less annoying magic experience. Receive dozens of new amazing spells in addition to vanilla improvements and one more great feature, an ability to choose starting spells when you are leaving the servers in the beginning of a game. Better Dungeons is a must-have mod that makes design improvements to all vanilla dungeons, making them to look and feel much more atmospheric and even adding new dungeon levels and puzzles as well. Enhanced Economy is a complex economics and trading overhaul that changes absolutely all game aspects related to trading. It makes speech to have a real impact on trading, adds local prices, dozens of merchant quests, and making trading much more realistic in overall. Enhanced Hotkeys is a mod in existence of which I was not even able to believe actually when I first saw it, because it adds hotkey system that is better than any Skyrim hotkeys mod has. It expands hotkeys to about 40 or 50 instead of 8 in vanilla and gives you an ability to bind action literally to any key. Yes, that means you can now bind some actions even on additional mouse buttons and so on. In addition, you can bind complex action to make them in one click, cast multiple spells in a row, switch sets of armors and weapons and so on. Basic Physical Activities is a simple but must-have mod from Maskar's Oblivion Overhaul author. It improves players' ability to run, jump and swim depending on encumbrance, and also adds ability to sprint, same as in Skyrim. Vanilla Combat Enhanced is a great and must-have mod if you are planning to play as a combat class. It rebalances combat, damage multipliers and combat perks to make combat more aggressive and challenging. Still, if you will be play as mage, you can skip this mod installation. Relevant scrolls, potions and staves makes all named scenes in game to be more useful and so giving them a real sense to use them, because tell me honestly, have you really used scrolls in Oblivion? Now potions, scrolls and staves are more powerful and may have additional effects. More effective enchantments simply fixes the ridiculously low amount of uses for enchanted items, making enchantments more useful. Archery Rebalance increases both damage and also tweaks some physics-related archery values to make archery more useful and realistic. You have joined Thieves Guild yesterday, stolen goods today for 1000 gold only, and bang, Grey Fox himself already gives a task to you. if you was pissed by this as well as me, install improved Thievery requirements to have realistic amount of fences needed for Thieves quest progression. Weapons of Morrowind is a decent big, beautiful and lore-friendly weapon pack made by talented Insanity Sorrow, grab it for sure. ImpeREAL Empire Unique Forts. This mod is rebuilding abandoned and poor-looking forts in Oblivion into glorious-looking and fully functional forts, by the way, with interiors, NPCs and even some quests. Gosh, Gecko's Oblivion Sound Overhaul. That's simply an amazing sound mod, something like an audio overhaul for Skyrim 2 just for Oblivion. Install it for sure. Listener Overhaul is giving a proper reward to you as a listener in the end of Dark Brotherhood questline, finally making it really worth of your rank. Umbra the Blood Drinker and Umbra the Blood Drinker Rebalanced. This mod and rebalance patch for it is a badass overhaul to one of the most known Daedric artifacts and the legendary sword, Umbra. It gives the sword power progression based on amount of enemies killed and also adds 3 sets of heavy, light armor and clothing as the final reward to suit any character class. Fighters Guild quests and the Mages Guild quests are 2 identical mods for the respective guilds. This mods fixes main issues with the guild's questlines that were just too short. Mods adds dozens of new Radiant and several unique quests to each guild, some new NPCs and followers, making these guilds much more alive and interesting to play. Guild Advancement is a great mod that improves guild progression system, making it much more realistic. Now, no more Archmage who has like 20 destruction skill or Fighters Guild Master who can't even raise a shield. Mod adds immersive requirements and progression system, making ranking system in guilds much more rewarding. Thievery in the Imperial City is a small but a great mod and voiced as well, by the way, that adds new Thieves fans, who gives you various hints and stealing quests that is improving Thieves Guild playthrough greatly. The Lost Spires is definitely one of the best quest mods for Oblivion ever made. This mod can be called, let's say, a spiritual predecessor of the legacy of the Dragonborn for Skyrim. It is turning around exploring excavations and relic hunting and has amazing main questline and tough challenges. Dark Brotherhood Chronicles is a must-have mod for this guild walkthrough. It adds an all-new storyline after vanilla Dark Brotherhood questline is complete, making you to face new dangers and giving a non-linear questline to completely destroy or restore the Dark Brotherhood. Reclaiming Sunker Tor is a huge quest mod which introduces the Blades questline and the chance to restore this ancient order to former and even bigger glory. It has literally dozens of new locations and a long questline that will be a great addition to main questline in Oblivion and give you several dozens of hours of gameplay. Rescue Minion from the Quatch Oblivion Gate. Actually, hard to call this one a quest mod, but this moment was one of the most embarrassing in a whole game. You find a prisoner in the middle of Oblivion Gates and as a true hero, just leave him to die. Now, you can help him escape. And it is even voiced, by the way. Spell effectiveness scales to 100 is a tiny mod that modifies just a single line in a game code, making magic to be 100% effective in a heavy or light armor. That's really a tiny change, but it's opening many new builds for Oblivion and making hybrid classes much more real to play. Time Enough at Last is a timing mod that adds logical time breaks between each quest in the main questline, making it feel much more immersive. Oblivion Uncut is an amazing mod that restores cut content in a game, from small dialogue lines and items to fully voiced NPCs and quests, making you to explore the game anew in many places. Consistent beggar voices is fixing one of the most hilarious audio mistakes in Oblivion, finally giving beggars proper voices instead of only one voice sample used for all beggars in a whole game. Dialogue tweaks, fixes and restorations is a mod similar to Oblivion Uncut, but focused exactly on restoring hundreds of dialogue lines between NPCs and fixing flaws in existing dialogues. Realistic player dialogue overhaul does exactly how it's named. No more blades, but what about the blades? No more just farewell, but I will not forget you, Uriel. No more rumors, but what latest rumors can you tell me? And so on. Floating Weapons Fix is a mod that fixes uncomfortable mechanics when dead enemies were dropping their weapons and shields, so you may never even find them in grass, making their weapons static looted from their inventory. Ref Scope is a mod similar to Add Item menu in Skyrim. It can show code for any items, including mod added items, as well as show mod from which this item is, which can be very helpful sometimes. Now you need to make just a few little steps. Step 1. Run boss and sort your lord order with it. Easy as that. Step 2. In Wrye Bash, find a plugin called Bashed Patch 0. Right-click on it, choose Rebuild Patch, and then Build Patch. While Bashed Patch is building, I will describe what is it and why do you need it. Many gameplay mods are modifying so-called leveled lists. What is leveled list? It is everything you can find and meet in the game. Loot in chests, traders' inventory, weapons and armors on bandits, NPC appearance and so on. Oblivion itself is not updating leveled list after mods are installed. That's why you may never see weapons from weapon mod on bandits, never see face textures on mod added NPCs, never see spell tomes from mods in traders' inventory, and so on. Bashed Patch simply makes that happen, updating the leveled list and decreasing amount of plugins, merging them. After Lord Order is sorted and Bashed Patch is built, activate it and find Maskar's Oblivion Overhaul plugin and be sure to place it after the Bashed Patch. Step 3. Download the archive with my ini files tweaked for this mod list, link is in video description. Unpack the archive and simply place the files into your data folder in Oblivion directory. Approve replacing and overwriting. Step 4. There is no step 4. Believe me or not, you're ready to play and you don't need to tweak mods yourself, everything is made for you to enjoy the game instantly. Before you start, just a few final words about what you received. You have an absolutely stable mod list, which is not very big, about 40 mods in total, but at the same time it improves literally every part of the game. Combat, magic, enemies, perks, guilds, dialogues, new armors, enemies and spells, everything is improved and expanded. You also have fixes to some annoying vanilla bugs or gameplay flaws, new hotkey system to fit any amount of spells and items, and several quest mods to expand all noticeable vanilla quest lines with new, lore-friendly stories. Also, you probably could ask me, hey Scimitar, why we got the weapon mod but not the armor mods? Because, for example, Oscuro's Oblivion Overhaul adds several dozens of armors and armor sets to the game, and so with some other questions you may have. Everything is counted and tweaked. This mod list will keep original game atmosphere, but at the same time make you explore it completely anew and give you hundreds of interesting gameplay hours. Thank you for watching, my friends. Enjoy the game and don't forget to enable channel notifications and join our Discord to always stay in touch. If you consider my work worthy of your support, visit my Patreon page for details, and as always, see you in the next video. Scimitar Gaming here, signing out.